Okay, we're going. Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast coming up next. We got Psycho Boy Fodder in the building with us tonight. We're going to talk that talk coming up next.
Following podcast scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, they are the Internet Podcast.
We back. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for more content. Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast. It's the insightful one, S. Scott Bars Wrestling Media, along with the dynamic Salute Darkwing Dub. We are in the building with Psycho Boy Fodder. Hey man, where's that stick at? Where that cane at? Where that cane at?
I got it. Hold on, man. I got this shit. Hold on. I'm going to get it. I got you right here. I'm showing up with this motherfucker right here.
Yeah, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got the Psycho Boy and we got the Psycho Stick in the building.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Like we got a lot of questions. I'm gonna let my people's lead with the questions start off because I got a lot in front of me. So, but I wanted to tell this story real quick, right? So when we were initially booking the interview, right? I didn't know that, and I watch a lot of NWA Power, right? I mean, I watched NWA Power from its inception. Like when it first came back out, I was like excited because I was a big NWA fan as a kid, especially the era with Ric Flair and all that, right? So I didn't know that you was on NWA at the time, but what happened was when we was getting everything done, we was talking to you online, right? I'm looking at the phone and I'm looking at the TV. I'm like, yo, this dude look oddly familiar. Like, I'm trying to figure out, I was like, where I seen this guy from, right? And at the time you was wrestling, I forgot who you was, I think it was like a battle royal. It was like some sort of battle royal, right? And I'm like, I couldn't put my finger on it. And so I talked to my wife. I was like, the guy on TV looks familiar, but I can't really figure it out. And it didn't dawn on me. It didn't register right. Like, yo, this is the same guy. So I'm like, man, am I bugging or something like that? So they said your name, and they kept saying your name. It still didn't ring. So then it zoomed in on you, and I seen you with the stick. I was like, oh, shit, that's Psycho Boy. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, yo, you better win this battle, boy. You better win. So I start screaming at the TV. I was like,
Yo, was that the pay-per-view where I think in that Battle Royal I did a spot with like Rolando and I like gave like the small dude to be like doing the managing.
yeah.
I think I gave him like a big boot in like the middle of the in the middle of the Battle Royal. I had to go back and watch it, but I think it's the same one though.
Yeah, it was that one. I started yelling at the TV, so my kids come into the room was like, "What's wrong, Dad? I was like, "Yo, that's Psycho Boy. You don't know who Psycho Boy is? You never watched it back and watch." My wife was like, "Yo, you have gone insane. Like you watch too much wrestling." And like it was just real funny. It was just real funny, like So I'm just looking at it, but like, yeah, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna tell him that when it come on the show." Like it was funny. It was real funny. But yeah,
that was a fun little Battle Royal.
Yeah. That was a dope match. Go ahead, Doug.
First off, it didn't register to you, or it registered slow, is because you old, bro.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Here we go.
No, so first things for I want to say thank you because like you didn't have to reach out to us. You know, we normally are doing the reaching out, and then he actually saw the message before I did, saying, "Hey, we just got a message from some guy named Psycho Boy," and I was like, "All right, I'll talk to him and see what he's talking about." And then I actually knew you were in NWA because I did a little research as I was like, "Who the heck is this Psycho Boy dude?" So I did a little
Yeah, yeah.
research before I responded back to you and saw that you were in NWA and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you because we're the ones that's normally reaching out, but you actually reached out to us. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. You can never be too many places. You know what I mean? And I saw you had interviewed a lot of people that I know, so I was like, yo, I said, let me just reach out to these guys, man, and see, if we could work something out. We'll jump on the show and have a good conversation.
So who have we interviewed that you know?
Odyssey Jones, Jordan Holt.
Mhm.
Let me see here. Oh man, it's another dude. He kind of skinny, man. I see him sometimes, like every now and again, I would see him on like an indie if we was working like an indie. He do like a lot of high flying stuff.
Talking
Damn,
about
I can't.
are you talking about
Zay
Diego?
Vega,
Oh,
Zay
Zay
Vega.
Vega.
Zay
That's
Zay
Vega.
Vega. Okay, okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so you know 2/3 of the ugly game.
Mhm.
Yeah, 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 man. I mean, that man, like y'all had so many people on there. I was like, man, let me just reach out to these guys and just see what's up.
Mhm. Yeah. Now we're big wrestling fans of the Ugly Gang, Ashe Wrestling, NW, like you name it. We watch it. If we can get an opportunity to reach out, we do it. We do it. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I always like to start from the beginning, right? So what was it that got you wanted to you like, you know what, I want to be a professional wrestler? What made you make that decision?
Man, so if we gotta go all the way back, man, like growing up, I was a huge wrestling fan. That's all I ever wanted to do was be a professional wrestler. Wrestling consumed my entire life. And actually, when I was like 16, I actually went to wrestling school. My art teacher in sixth grade, he was actually an indie wrestler who ended up being on like NWA Wildside and TNA. His name was Laz. He used to wear like the face paint, and he was kind of doing like the, I don't know if I want to call it like the gold dust gimmick, but basically like a gimmick where like a dude is kind of wearing women's clothing or whatever. And he would like come out to like the Britney Spears music, and he was coming up, like Laz was coming up like when like the Hardys and Shannon Moore and Shane Helms and Caprice Coleman, like all of those are like North Carolina guys, right? So they were all kind of um running in those same circles and working the same indies and everything. And he actually got me into wrestling school when I was 16. He lied to him and told him I was 18. When they found out I wasn't 18, they told me I couldn't come back until I was 18 for legality reasons and all that. And then
Mhm.
when I didn't go back. I kind of got off doing other things in life, and I always kept up with wrestling. Uh, and I got into doing like bodybuilding shows and things like that. And then one day, man, I was in the gym and I saw this advertisement pop up on the TV. And this is why I say like it's just kind of like destiny is just there for me because I never really trained at this gym in town, but for some reason that day I was just on that side of town and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop in this gym. I'm not gonna drive to the other side of town to go to the normal gym I go to. I go in this gym. It's an advertisement on the TV in the gym. It's like, do you want to be a pro wrestler? So I called up the guy who was my art teacher and I was like, do you know the people that run this spot? My thinking at the time is I'm gonna just try it. I'm gonna do it like as a hobby. And when you're doing bodybuilding, your body gets like real stiff, man, because you just kind of doing like the same exercises over and leg curls, bicep curls, tricep extensions, and you really lose like a lot of flexibility and mobility in your body.
Mhm.
So one thing that I wanted to do was kind of get get like some. I wanted to be more agile, because I just felt really stiff, and I thought that might be a good way to kind of, unlock my body per se. I signed up for the wrestling school, and man, I just took to it really fast. And everybody was just kind of telling me, they were like, yo, man, like, you got the look, you got the body, man. Like, all you got to do is kind of like learn how to work in the ring, and you going to go places. But, you hear shit like that all the time, right? Where people just say, like, oh, like, you going places. It's like somebody drop a mixtape, right? And like everybody's like, oh, man, like, you're going to get signed next week, and then, 30 mixtapes later, they still doing the same shit, right? So for me, once I started doing it, EC3 was actually a friend of mine outside of wrestling. And I kind of told him, I was like, yo, man, I think I might get involved in the wrestling and all that, and kind of see how it goes. And I mean, we just kind of took it from that point. Like, my first kind of big break was uh EC3 had got let go from WWE, and that first vignette that they shot, it was kind of like a cinematic wrestling type thing, where he was like fighting a guy in this like garage with like all these people around. It was kind of like the WWE underground. Remember when they was doing like the WWE underground type thing? But like EC3 was doing that first. He was like the first person to ever do that. They kind of took the idea from him. And I was the guy fighting him in that joint. He had asked me to come down, and like we did it. And that's where I first met like Braun Strowman and Moose and Spud and all of those guys. And from there, it just kind of took off. That was kind of like my first time realizing, like, okay, like, this is like a big budget production type thing, and they telling me I'm doing a good job. Maybe I can really actually do something with this.
Absolutely. That, hey, I ain't gonna lie. That sounds fire. That really does sound fire.
Yeah,
Like,
is not to cut you off. I think I seen this before. Was this when EC3 started the what was it called? Like it was like a televised type of thing. Was it when he started that? And it
Yeah, it
had
was like the control your narrative.
good control
yeah.
your narrative. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember seeing that because they aired it on YouTube, and I was like,
Mhm.
control your narrative. I was like, what's that? And then I just looked at it. I was like, oh, I know that's AC3. That's Strowman. And then I started seeing a bunch of guys I seen from WWE and TNA. I was like, yeah, I know this. And then I remember they had a few events. There was a few events they had
Yeah,
too.
like we did live shows and everything, man. Like
Yeah.
the first one that we shot, where it was just like me fighting EC3 in the joint,
Mm-hmm.
they had actually aired that on Impact, because EC3 was going back to Impact. So that kind of set
Mm-hmm.
up like his return to Impact. And then EC3 started doing like the full-fledged productions. Like the first one that we did, like the Free the Narrative one, it had me, John Schuyler, Cardona, Matt Sydal, Moose. There was a lot of guys in that first one, man, and they had it on like Fight TV and a bunch of the different platforms. And after we had did two of them, we started doing like the live shows. Like we were doing like the live shows like WrestleMania weekend, and we had did like a couple loops like in Detroit and Cleveland and Wisconsin. And I mean, it was a real good thing. Like while it was going, it was just. When Vince left or kind of got ousted out of WWE, and Triple H took back over, he brought back a lot of his guys, which was like Strowman and
Mm-hmm.
Killer Cross, and like all of those guys ended up going back to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
did you ever get a call to join them?
I mean, WWE had brought me down. They brought me down like 5 times in 2022. But what ended up happening is I was going down there. I was doing like a lot of like extra work or whatever. They had brought me down like to NXT a bunch of times, and I had got the opportunity at NWA. EC3 had went to NWA, and I had worked Ricky Morton on an indie.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ricky Morton telling me, he was like, you know what, fella, you should be working on fucking TV. And I was like, well, shit, give me a job on TV, man. And I was like, I'll come work on TV. And sure enough, man, he called me up one day and he was like, hey, man, after this was after NWA 74 pay-per-view. And
Mhm.
he called me up and he was like, yo, man, he was like, we're doing TV tapings in Nashville. He was like, can you get here? And I told him, yeah. He said, if you get here, I'll get you a match. And then that set of tapings, he got me a match, and they basically verbally hired me on the spot after I did the first match for him.
Wow, that's dope. That is super
So
dope.
other than bodybuilding and weightlifting and stuff like that, do you have like an athletic background? Like I know a lot of professional wrestlers, they do like they play football, they did basketball, or I think Zay Vega was in rugby, stuff like that. What about
Right.
you?
Man, I did like a little bit of like amateur wrestling like in high school, but and man, honestly, like I only did that because like they were saying, I mean, it was wrestling and like I like WWE, so I was like, well, maybe I'll, try this kind of wrestling. But outside of the little bit of amateur wrestling I did in high school, I didn't have any athletic background at all.
But you had gained like a bunch of power and stuff like that just from the weightlifting
Yeah, just
side.
the
Because
weightlifting. Oh yeah.
you definitely have to have some kind of athleticism to get into weightlifting like that. I mean, I tried it and it sucked.
Well, obviously, like when you're training with weights, whether it be like bodybuilding or whether you're doing like CrossFit or any kind of like physical activity, just going to the gym and being active in the gym, like you're gonna get stronger, you're gonna get faster. Your cardio is gonna be better if you're doing cardio and things of that nature. So, I mean, all of that stuff helps. In professional wrestling too.
Mhm.
So, what kind of advice would you give somebody like myself who just lost 100 pounds because I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, get my strength back? What advice would you give me?
Man, just consume a decent amount of protein throughout the day and just hit the gym. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people like it's not even about like going to the gym and 100% like I would never expect like if you was going to the gym, I wouldn't expect you to have the knowledge about the gym that like I have about the gym, but just the fact that you going to begin with, you'll pick up knowledge as you go, man. And just the fact that you're in there is probably better than 95% of the people walking around on the planet because most people not going to go, they're not even going to make the effort to go to the gym at all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you what happened. I did 10 years in the Army. After I got out of the Army, my mindset was, you know what? I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. anymore to go do PT. I can
Right.
eat whatever the hell I want to eat now. I ain't got to worry about a sergeant or a drill sergeant or first sergeant or my captain jumping down my neck for having like a piece of zebra cake in my hand or something like that. I'm gonna do
Right.
whatever the hell I want to do. Well, doing whatever the hell I want to do kind of got a little bit out of hand. Got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and so I was like, well, here we are. I kind of already knew I had a 50% chance of getting it because my mother and both my grandparents and stuff like that, they were type 1 diabetic. So I knew I had a 50% chance of getting it between me and my younger sister. So, but yeah, that's why I had to lose 100 pounds, is because after I got out of the Army, I said, I'm doing whatever the hell I want to do. And it just got out
But
of
yo,
hand.
man, I mean, congratulations to you though, man, on losing 100 pounds, man. I mean, because listen, man, it's a lot of people that get diagnosed with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, and they just give up, bro. I mean, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I mean, just the fact that you know you lost 100 pounds to begin with. I mean, that's half the battle right there. You know what I mean? Like the next step is just like, hey, I always tell people this too, is like a lot of people they want to eat right or they want to do better or they hear the word diet and that's like a scary word, right? Because they're thinking like, man, I got to eat like plain chicken and rice or whatever. But anybody that I deal with on the fitness side of things, I always tell them you don't have to go from eating whatever the hell you want to eating 6 clean meals a day. That's unrealistic for most people. I always tell people just take it one meal at a time. So can you wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm gonna eat one clean meal today. And then master eating that one clean meal every day. And then once you mastered eating that one clean meal, then you move to two clean meals. And then before you know it, in a month or 2 months or 3 months, you'd be like, damn, like I'm eating four clean meals a day, and it's not that hard. It's just adjusting that lifestyle.
I know you're on here to talk wrestling, but I'll get to that. But I do have one last question for you when it comes to this
Oh,
kind of
sure.
stuff. How do you feel about the carnivore diet? Because I've heard a lot about the carnivore diet.
I mean, I think the diet is totally fine. I mean, I think like you need carbohydrates and stuff like that, man, if you're gonna be doing like rigorous weight training and stuff. But if that diet works for you and it produces results, do it. Because a lot of people get stuck on, well, I'm not doing it this way, or somebody thinks you should do it that way. But the thing is, man, if you find something that works for you, do that, man, because you are the person that's in control of your life. So if the carnivore diet works great for you, if you try it, you like it, and you go, shit, man, this is producing results for me, stick with that. Don't let nobody tell you not to do something that's working for you.
I appreciate that, because I definitely thought about giving that a shot. Like, and how I lost 100 pounds is, I was able to have my insurance pay for those once a week shots, but it's because I needed it for my diabetes. I
Right.
didn't need it for weight loss. I needed it for the sickness. So
Yeah, yeah,
that
sure.
also comes, and people don't understand. Like, for the people out there listening that might be on the Ozempic, the Manjaro, whatever the case may be, it's not a magic shot. All it does is it suppresses your appetite. You still have to
Right.
do all the things. You still have to eat right. You still have to go hit the gym or go for a walk around the block. That's what started it for me. Is like, I started with grilling a bunch of chicken, a bunch of turkey on my grill, and doing some vegetables to go with it, whether if it was corn or green beans or spinach
Mm-hmm.
or zucchini. That's what I was doing. And then me and my wife, because she was in it with me, she's not diabetic, but she's like, I got your back. We would start going for walks just around the block and back. And then those walks around the block ended up being like a mile up the street and back, and then 2 miles, and so on and so forth. And then plus I
Exactly.
work outside, so I do a lot of sweating because I work outside. So that also helped. So for everybody that thinks Ozempic is just Ozempic, Manjaro, whatever the case may be, I'm on the Manjaro, but it's not a magic shot. You still have to do the work. I did it. Trust me. You still have to do the
And
work.
I tell you, a lot of people think that, like when you say the word diet, like for a lot of people, that's a scary word. But you know, you can eat clean and enjoy clean food. I love my diet, man. I love eating clean because I use stuff like sugar-free barbecue sauce, sugar-free ketchup, sugar-free honey mustard, all of those type of things, and it makes my food taste good. It's all low calorie stuff that makes the food taste good, man. So you can approach dieting with the mindset of like, I can make my food taste good and I can enjoy this food, and it's not what most people would think is like a punishment, you know what I mean, for being on a
Mm-hmm.
diet.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I really do.
Oh, no problem at all, man. My pleasure, man.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bars.
yeah. Speaking of, dieting and stuff like that, like I had I didn't really like suffer from any like diabetic issues, but I did like have some high blood pressure issues at one point. And like I was at one point I was like close to 320. So what happened with me was
Hey,
like
not to cut you off. Let me go get these kids under control real quick. I'm about
okay.
to body slam one of them. I need that stick, Psycho Boy. I need that stick.
Yeah, I got you right here, right here.
Yeah, so yeah, I was at 320 at one point, and but I didn't look 320 because I'm tall. So what happened was what kind of jolted my myself to get back in shape was when I went to Nigeria, because my family's from West Africa. So
Oh,
I
okay,
went to
cool.
I went to Nigeria to go visit my family. I was with my wife and everything, and then I went down there, and then it's hot. It's very, very hot down there. I'm talking
Yeah.
about desert heat. And I would, the food in other, let me just say this. Food in other countries are way different from the food we eat here in the States.
100%.
It's clean, it's nutritious. All those added preservatives are not in the food. And it's the same foods, but they taste totally different. So I'm eating the same things, but I'm dropping weight. And I'm like, and I wasn't in the gym. I didn't that first go around. That was my first time in Africa, so I didn't know where the gyms were at. I didn't know where nothing was at. You know what I'm saying? So it was just me eating my regular stuff, but I was dropping weight. So when I came back to the States, I had dropped like at least 30 or 40 something pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was back. I was like literally back going towards the twos. So when I got back, family was like, yo, you sick or something? What happened to you? I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even realize until I looked in the mirror how much weight I lost. And I was like, yeah, it must have been from that desert heat. So I said, I like how I look. I look, healthy. I want to try to keep this look. So I started hitting the gym, and I started hitting the gym so like really hard, like, cause I like going to the gym, and I like playing ball. I play a lot of basketball. So I was doing all these things to get myself fit back to like at least close enough to my youthful days. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so like I got down to about like I believe I was like at 245, and it
Hmm.
seemed like I was teeter-tottering between 245 and 250, and I stayed within that realm. So I got into other stuff that was helping me build more muscle. I was doing the powerlifting. One of my favorite workouts was deadlifts. I was to the
Yeah, yeah,
point,
yeah.
yeah, I was to the point where I was able to deadlift like I was almost deadlifting 600. That was like
Oh yeah.
close to my max, and I was like, oh snap! Like, and you never really realize how focused you get until you actually are in that moment. You like, dag, like So since then, I've been trying to keep up with that regimen. Of course, I can't keep up with it that much because of family, work and stuff like that. But I try my hardest. But hearing what you're saying, it's inspiring me to work harder. You know what I'm saying? To work harder and just get on that gear and just keep riding. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So
I mean, that's always my mentality, right? Is like, how can I stay focused and be even just 1% better tomorrow than I was today? You know what I mean? And if that means, and that could really be applied to all facets of your life. You know what I mean? So, you obviously need, some rest days and things like that. But one thing that I always kind of told myself is like, because I also come from being very overweight. Like, I was a smoker. I used to smoke Newport shorts in a box. And, I was probably somewhere around like 250 pounds, man. So I was very out of shape. And actually, this will probably blow your mind. But prior to me getting into bodybuilding, I used to do rap music, right?
yeah.
So I'll send you some shit, like, bro. Like, I mean, I was on The Source, Double XL. I mean, I got songs with Mobb Deep. I got songs with Killer Mike. I got songs with French Montana. Uh,
Oh,
um,
Psycho Boy got bars, man. You speaking my
I got,
language. I love
I,
music, man. I'm in.
ma-
Yeah.
I ain't had no, I ain't spit no bars since like 2012.
Uh-huh.
But um, in 2000, like late 2011, early 2012, I went to New York. I met up with a guy. His name was Sal Bonaventure. They ran a group. It was called the 10 Agency. And like at this point in time, like I was like piping hot, because this is when white rappers were kind of like coming out. So you had like Mac Miller and like Machine Gun Kelly. You had like me, and maybe there was like one or two other guys, right? And I went up there and I had like a single with I don't know if you're familiar with this guy named Fred the Godson.
Oh, what? Oh my
Yeah.
God! Yeah, of course, of
So
course.
I had one single with Fred the Godson, and I had one single with Killer Calione from Slim Thug's man, right?
Yeah.
So those two were good, and then I had the single with French Montana that was coming out. So I met up with this guy Sal Bonaventure, and he had that group, and they had distribution through Universal at the time, and we had like this big meeting up in New York and everything, and they were like, we love your shit, but we don't like the way you look. And I was like, okay, but
Mm,
their whole thing, right, was we can't really market no fat white rapper. Like it just wasn't their thing. So he was like, look, he was like, take like 3 to 6 months, hire a personal trainer, get in shape, come back up here, and we'll sign you to a deal, right? So we were doing a lot of like touring around, like we were doing like I don't know if you're familiar with this. Like they used to have like the AC3 festival in Atlanta. They
yeah,
had like
yeah.
South by Southwest, like in Austin, Texas, and everything. And when you're doing a lot of shows like that, you're doing shows and traveling and fucking doing drugs and smoking weed and doing all that kind of shit, man. And you up all night and just eating junk food and drinking alcohol and everything, is easy to put on weight, bro. And I
Yep.
put on a ton of weight. I went back, I hired a guy, and then I met a guy who was like a bodybuilder, and he he started doing my diet. And the one thing that I realized is like in the music business, is a lot of politics, man. A lot of politics.
Yeah.
And when I started doing the fitness shit, I was just like, oh shit, like I'm in control of this. I control everything with this. Like if I eat the diet and I train hard, I'm getting the results. I'm in control of this. Like nobody, I don't have to politic with nobody to get no results or do any of that kind of shit. And I just fell in love with doing bodybuilding. And then just slowly I just got out of doing music and I was just like full-time bodybuilding because I just ended up falling in love with it. And that was kind of like the end of my music. But it basically, from learning how to promote myself doing music to then getting into doing bodybuilding and getting into the supplement business and doing all that, I feel like all of that is what led me to what my real destiny was, which was doing pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It was like a full circle, like all the way back to like when I was a kid. I was like, okay, I learned how to market myself through music that I was able to use to get into the supplement business where now I could make money and fund, basically my life and live off of this kind of money. And
Mm-hmm.
then being a bodybuilder, having already kind of like built my physique and everything. Then when I got into wrestling, it was like I had all the tools that I needed to succeed in doing wrestling.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Like, it's funny because you say that, right? And like I have like a similar story. Like I love music. He'll tell you like I've battle rapped. I've been in like battle rap competitions. I've had been in front of like some of the top tier guys in battle rap. You know what I'm saying? They've hosted events that have been like a part of and things like that. Of
Yo,
course,
E Beasley, and Smack, all them that run like the URL, they're my people, bro.
yeah, I'm a big URL fan. I'm not so much into it like I used to be, but
Hmm.
I'm still involved in my music. But I bring that up by saying this, like everything comes full circle, right? Like
For sure.
when I started my music journey, like let me say like when I was 11, and like music showed me how to be confident in my inner self, how to stand in front of people, perform in front of crowds, how to like presentation is everything, style, look, you know what I'm saying, voice
Yeah, yeah.
projection, all those things, right, matter, right? And then from there I go into podcasting, you know what I'm saying. My
Hmm.
other love is professional wrestling. Of course, I feel like I kind of past that time frame as far as like trying to get in the wrestling ring. You know what I mean? That's a story for another time. I kind of passed that
You
time.
well past that,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. This guy, yeah. So I kind of passed that, but what happened was the podcasting, the music taught me how to like present myself in front of people, taught me how to speak and communicate. And then from the podcasting, of course, outside of this, I'm a substance abuse counselor. So like that helped me how to like make presentations and to do this and do that. And everything
Right.
just like intertwined and connect together. And I was like, dang, like, you know what I mean? That's crazy how like you could do these certain activities within your life and it all connects and it projects you into the profession that you are, which is professional wrestling. You know what I'm
A
saying?
hundred percent.
Everything helped out, so it was all for a reason. You know what I mean? And
A hundred percent.
I do believe the universe would never do you wrong when it comes to these type of situations. If your destiny is to be in that wrestling ring, somehow, some way, it was going to lead you to that wrestling ring, and that's exactly what it did.
No doubt.
Yeah,
And bro, like I look back and I just go like, man, if if I never did this or I never, took this left turn here or whatever, like it all led me to just like doing the wrestling. That's where I met my wife. I mean, like just so many things just kind of intertwined and connected to kind of put me where I'm at like right now today. I was,
mhm.
so you talking about music. I was going to ask you, do you know Rain 910?
I heard of him. He's with he was with DNA and all them cats. I got some of
Yeah.
his music and stuff like that that I downloaded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Look, me and Rain used to live together.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope. That's dope. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm like big on music, man. I'm a when we get on, I'm gonna send you a few freestyles that I did like a few months back and stuff like that. Like I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
busy. I don't want to, but I do. I'm nice with it, man. I'm nice with it. I'll be getting
I think
busy.
I send you guys some of my old shit and you'll be like I send you like the joints with like French Montana and Mob
Yeah,
Deep and all that,
yeah,
man. And
yeah,
you'll be like, "Oh shit, like this motherfucker got bars. Holy
yeah,
shit."
yeah. I wanted to ask you this question. So, you're in NWA, the NWA experience, right? So, what makes NWA such a unique place to wrestle, and what has the experience been for you since joining?
Well, so like I was working at NWA from like August 2022 until about the beginning of 2024, and like my time there was fine, you know what I mean? I mean they had me in like a lot of good programs, like me and my wife worked a program with Camille and Latimer. Me and
Mm-hmm.
Latimer was doing like the kendo stick match, like pay-per-view and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean they have a good setup in terms of like the production and everything. I love the agents there because most of the time like my agents for my matches were either Homicide or Dr. Tom Pritchard or Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always stuff that you can learn from those people, man, because they're just the things that they have done in the business is unbelievable. And the locker room was good. Everybody was friendly, and I think everybody kind of had the common purpose. You know what I mean? To try to build and grow the company, and then ultimately, kind of like what led to us, me and my wife leaving NWA was, I think that they had a vision for what they wanted to do on the creative end, and we had a vision of what we wanted to do on the creative end. And one thing I always say is like, even if you don't agree on something, if you're at a crossroads with somebody or a company or whatever the case is, it's okay to be at that crossroads and say like, hey, I respect what you guys want to do, but like this is what I think is best for us and what I think is best for our career. And I'm a gamble on what I think is best right now. And we could take a break, and that doesn't mean that the door is closed forever. That just means like, hey, like I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna let you guys do what you do. We gonna do what we do, and we'll see how it works out. And I think at the time, like with us leaving, that was the right decision because my career and like what we're doing in terms of like the Psycho Love gimmick and everything, it's only been on the trajectory upwards.
Mhm.
And the amount of names and buzz that I have got like on the indies
Mhm.
um has led to us probably doing some stuff in the near future that people will see.
Yeah, and it's funny you spoke about that because that's definitely where I was getting ready to ask you as far as play people that you have faced. So you face some like wrestling's top talent, and you've also challenged for the television title, I believe, right? The NWA
At
television
NWA,
title.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the world heavyweight title too.
yeah, and what did you consider the most challenging matches that you have had thus far, whether it's in NWA or any other promotion?
But what do you mean by like challenging though?
Challenging, like your toughest opposition, like any obstacles that you had to cross over to like either win that match or at least make that match look interesting.
um Man, one thing about working with guys is like every guy's got kind of their own formula with how they work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like guys like Moose, tough challenge, um, Bubba Ray Dudley, tough challenge,
Mm-hmm.
Too Cold Scorpio, tough challenge, Elias, another tough challenge. And kind of structuring those matches and making sure that we can tell a good story, but also keep the crowd involved. Um, Obviously, like I'm working with some of the best in the business period. Like, one thing I always tell people about like Bubba is, Bubba's one of the best in the business period. I know that people have their opinions on Bubba, but a lot of people who have opinions on Bubba have never worked with Bubba. And one thing about him is Bubba is a creative he's just a creative genius, man. Like he knows how to structure matches and put them together to get just maximum reaction out of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch any of those matches, one match I worked Bubba and like it was like a ECW street fight, and then a couple of months ago, me and my wife worked Bubba in a handicap match. It was like a handicap tables match,
Mm-hmm.
which was another banger match. And if you watch these matches, like we're we're doing a lot, but we're not doing a lot. It's a lot of crowd work, and kind of you know trusting him and knowing that he knows what he's doing when we're kind of putting these things together. It's
Mm-hmm.
a real blessing to be able to work with guys like that and learn from them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet it's real dope to like work with guys that you've seen them in this era, you've seen them in that era, then actually stand in front of them. A lot of guys don't get that opportunity to stand in front of somebody that they watched for so many years. You know what I mean? I remember we spoke to one athlete, and he spoke about being in front of his idol as far as who he was wrestling, and just actually standing there. He's like, it was almost a shock, but he had to
Right,
like
right.
he had to get himself back to normal and realize, yeah, he got to work this match. You know what I mean? He got
Yeah.
he got to do what he got to do. So like, I bet that's pretty dope. That is real dope. I
And
got one. Go ahead.
it's cool too, man. Like when you're when you're doing something like that, like like if you go watch like that Bubba match,
Mm-hmm.
um when before the match, like when he's cutting the promo on me and like the crowd's going crazy and everything, it's just like you sitting there and you like I used to watch Bubba when I was like, Bubba's in the Attitude Era. You know what I mean? Like I used to watch Bubba growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're standing there and you're like, oh shit, like this motherfucker's cutting a promo on me. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're, you know, doing the match, and like the match is getting like max crowd reaction. And it's just like, holy shit, like I can't believe I'm in here with Bubba doing a match, you know what I mean? Or I can't believe I'm in here with Too Cold Scorpio and he's hitting me with a
Oh,
moonsault, you know what I mean?
oh man,
Like those are
yeah.
just things that like you don't really think about. You just don't think about that kind of stuff where you're like, damn, like this shit is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually had started watching the Two Cold Scorpio match, and Two Cold Scorpio is one of my favorite guys, especially from the ECW time, especially when he wrestled in WCW. Like
Yeah.
Two Cold Scorpio, a lot of the wrestlers of today, you see Two Cold Scorpio style in their in ring art. So I could name a list of guys like that is Too Cold Scorpio inspired. Like he was doing so much like cool video game stuff that you just
Yeah.
wasn't you see it today, but you wasn't used to seeing it back in the day. Like the that one moonsault into a front flip that
Into
he
the leg,
used.
into the leg drop, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I like, and
Dude,
that.
and you know what's crazy is, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but what's
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
crazy is like I worked Scorpio last year, and then me and Scorpio working again on Sunday.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so like to be able to like work some of these people like multiple times, you know what I mean? Like Scorpio, I cut a promo on him for the promotion or whatever, and they had put it up on the Instagram or whatever, and he just, I was talking about like, oh, like you a high flyer, like I'm gonna clip your wings, and this, that, and the third, and he had texted me, and he was like, damn bro, like you gonna clip my wings? That's fucked up, man. And it's just like,
yeah,
oh shit, like Too Cold Scorpio is fucking texting my phone, you know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah,
like shit
yeah,
like that, you're just like, wow man, like this shit is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I could just imagine how dope that is. Like that is fire. That's fire. Go ahead, Doug.
So who are some of your idols getting into pro wrestling?
Man, I mean, just like growing up, bro. I mean, I was watching Mr. Perfect. I was Too Cold Scorpio, obviously one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I think like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels is kind of like a given. But there's so many like good guys that like never really got like the super duper fame. Like Brad Armstrong is an unbelievable wrestler. Brian Pillman, me and my wife actually worked Pillman Jr. and his girlfriend at the time. We had worked them in a mixed tag, so it was kind of crazy to like wrestle like Brian Pillman's kid, you know what I mean? There's just, man, there's so many like just good guys. And one thing I like too is like coming from like the era of wrestling that I grew up watching. Like my favorite era of wrestling is like 90s WWF. Like 96, 97 WWF.
Mm-hmm.
When you actually had like lots of characters. And
Right.
that's what I tried to model myself after. Like, nowadays, like most everybody is like, this is like, John Hutchinson, and it's just like a first name last name guy. Like there's no real like character.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was kind of putting my shit together, and like EC3 kind of helped me a lot with like a lot of character development stuff, was like I wanted to be a character. So like I'm just not like a first name last name guy. Like when I come out, it's Psycho Boy Fodder. Like that's just a crazy name. You know what I mean? And it's just not like a first name last name type deal.
I feel it. I was going to ask you about that. How did you come up with the name Psycho Boy Fodder?
Okay, so when I worked EC3 in that like garage fight vignette thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go and you watch the end of it, when they do like the credits, it says my name, it says starring Merton Woolard as the fodder, right? Which is basically means like I'm food for like EC3, right? Because he's like beating me up in the joint or whatever. So when he asked me to do the Free the Narrative part one, which was like the first like full length thing that he was doing, he called me up and he was like, "Yo, I think we're just gonna call you Fodder." And I remember sitting there and I was like, dude, I was like, that's a fucking terrible name. I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, what the, like, are you trying to ruin me? And he was like, no, like, I think it would be good, man. It's like you're fodder, but you're not fodder because you're going to be it's like an oxymoron because you're going to be in there like kicking guys' asses and doing this. And he's like, I think we'll just call you like Psycho Boy Fodder. And I was like, all right. And then I just rolled with it because like, I mean, EC3 is like a top name wrestler. So like, what am I gonna tell him? Like, nah, I don't want to do it. So I wanted my spot, on the Free the Narrative thing. So I'm gonna do kind of whatever he wants me to do. So I'm like, cool, we'll roll with it. And then after it got released, I was getting hit up, and people were like, hey, like we want to book the fodder guy. And I was like, okay, well, shit, I guess I'm fodder. So I started doing it, and now like I really can't see myself as anything else. Like it's just that's what it is.
So that's just something that just sort of just happened, and then it just stuck.
That right, that happened, and it's the same way like with like how we came up with the Psycho Stick. Like this, so when we did the program with Latimer and Camille, um, when we were doing like the live like NWA Power when we were in Knoxville, right? They wanted us to attack them. So they were like, well, what do you want to use? Like a chair and then they had suggested to me to use the kendo stick, right? So I was like, cool. So I attack him with the kendo stick. So that set up like our match. It was going to be a Singapore cane match, right? So after the pay-per-view, the next day at TV, Joe Galley, the commentator, he's standing there talking to me, and Billy Corgan walks up and he was like, I think you should just carry the stick with you everywhere. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll carry the stick with me everywhere. So EC3's walking by, and Joe Galley was like, well, what do you want to call the stick? And EC3 goes, you should call it the Psycho Stick. And I was like, all right. And then Joe Galley was like, okay, cool. We'll call it the Psycho Stick. And he just walks off. And then they just started calling it the Psycho Stick on commentary, and it just stuck. So it's like, we're kind of like just bullshitting and like joking around in the back, and like, it just stuck, and we just roll with it,
So did you have a name picked out before Psycho Boy Fodder just stuck with you?
Yes. So before I was Psycho Boy Fodder, I was doing like like when you go to like wrestling school and shit, like they tell you like, oh, like just like pick something that like people can resonate with, and like this, or they were like, so like what do you like? And I was like, man, I don't know, like I like America. So they were like, all right, so you could just wear like the American flag, like knee pads and like this. Dude, it was literally like I was a creator wrestler on like a video game. So it's because like I mean like I'm a big jacked up dude, right? And they're like, okay, like, well, what do you like? And I was, I'm just like, well, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I like America. Like, I guess that's okay. And then I get like the knee pads and like the red tights, and I had like the like American flag like bandana, and they were like, "What do you want your name to be?" And I was like, "I don't know. I guess I'm an alpha male, so I'll just call myself like Alpha Ace." And that's what I started calling myself. But if you go back and look at it, like aesthetically, like it looks fine. But now when I look at it, I'm just like, this ain't me. Like this is like some shit somebody would create on like WWE 2K25 or some shit, right? It's and I remember watching me and I don't know if you're familiar with these guys, but do you know the Righteous on AEW? Okay.
Yeah.
So Bill Carr, he's the bigger guy with the big beard.
Mm-hmm.
We were sitting down one day and we were watching a match, right? So we watched a match with me as Alpha Ace, and then we watched a match with me as Fodder, right? Where I'm just wearing like black jeans, black boots, nothing else, right? No shirt. And he goes, man, he goes, you even move different when you're fodder. He said, and you know why that is? He said, because you're more comfortable. He was like, the black jeans, black boots, tatted up, jacked up ass kicker. He was like, that's you in real life, dude. He was like, that's why everything looks better and flows better in the ring when you're fodder. He was like, this other shit, he was like, this is not you. He was like, this is just some fucking horse shit that was made up. The
Mhm.
black jeans, black boots, ass kicker. He was like, that's you. He was like, and that's why it's better. He was like, because you're not, he was like, you're just being yourself, right? It's just like you turned up to 10. So after that, it was just kind of like, it was just really easy to roll with it, you know?
So what are some things that Psycho Boy likes to do before a match? Like kind of music he listens to, kind of meals does he have, and stuff like that.
Man, like, so say like, if we're going live at like 7, most of the time we got to be at the building at like 1. So when I get to the building, I'm not like, I'll bring my meals with me and stuff like that. And then, obviously, like I just eat like just basic diet meals and things like that. But how I kind of get ready for matches is like once we kind of got things put together, for what we're gonna do. One is like I like to go over it in my head a lot because I'm very OCD. So I'm just going over it and going it over as many times as I can so I can make sure I got it, like when I get out there. Um, but one thing that I like to do, man, is I just like to joke around and just kind of chill with the boys and just hang. You know what I mean? Because it just kind of takes the stress. Anytime you're doing like live TV or TV tapings or anything like that, man, there's always a lot of stress, man, because people don't realize that, like, when you're doing a match, like they give you a time, like you have to make sure you hit your times. Like times are a very, very important thing. So like if you got a match that's like 8 minutes, like they want you to do the match in like 7 minutes and 50 seconds, so there's a lot of moving parts in wrestling that people don't realize, which is like, you know working towards the hard cam and making sure that you're communicating with the person that you're working with, but also having to communicate with the referee, and then the referee's giving you times and he's counting you down, and also making sure that you're interacting with the crowd too. Go to bed, dude. All right, man. Kids, man.
Gotta love him, man. Gotta love him.
Yeah. Um, but it's just there's so many things that go into it, man, that I just try to like make sure that before I get out there, man, I'm very relaxed too, you know what I mean? And don't have like a lot of like anxiety and stress and everything going into it, because I think if you go out there and you're stressed or you're nervous and you're worried, it just sets up for like a lot of error while you're out there.
I know there's this famous question that's making its rounds. I don't see you actually doing it, but I'll ask you anyway. What is your
All right.
Waffle House order?
Waffle House order would always be grits, bacon and cheese. I would always get 2 bacon and cheese sandwiches. That's my favorite breakfast sandwich, is a bacon cheese sandwich. Um I think that's it. No waffles though, man. I'm not a big waffle guy. I like pancakes though.
Nothing wrong with that. That's why we got
Yeah, there
IHOP.
you go.
So, if you don't mind me asking, is there a story on how you met your wife? And I want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
I used to have the biggest crush on your wife too.
Hold on. Lauren! Hold on one second.
I hope she don't get that psycho stick and start and jump through and do the ghost
Hey,
dad and jump
hey,
through it and pop
hey,
you.
we married now. All good.
Hold on 1 second, bro.
He put me on the spot.
He said he had a big crush on you back in the day.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
I had the biggest crush on you back in your TNA days. I was just
That's
telling your husband that.
I said,
But it's all
hold on, I
good
go
now. We're
get her real
married.
quick.
We're married. It's all good now.
Nice to see you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we met. I had just got to TV, and she was actually I think she was coming out of the makeup room, and she had on like a big black hoodie, and she had a coffee in her hand, and I looked down there and I said, that's me right there. And I just beelined right to her, and we just started talking, and once we started talking, we just never stopped talking.
The boy shot his shot and got the girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For
It was just,
everybody
man,
out there that's listening, shoot your shot.
you got to shoot your shot, man. And you know what's crazy is I actually did not know who she was when I met her. So I just saw her, and I just thought, I was like, man, I was like, that's a gorgeous chick right there. And so I just beelined over, and I was like, hey, like, my name's Merton, da 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 da. And she was like, oh, you're the Psycho Boy guy, right? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And then, man, after that, we just kind of never stopped talking. You know what I mean? And we went out. I think like we were doing TV Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We went out and kind of like hung out like on Wednesday night, and then from there we were basically dating after that. And then a year later we were married.
Heck yeah. It's one of those things like you kind of knew, right? Love at
Oh
first
yeah,
sight. Like
yeah.
as
I
soon as you
mean,
shot your shot, it was over with.
I knew probably a couple of days into it, I was like, man, this chick is like the female version of me. She was like I was like, we like the same person, you know what I mean? Like we like all the same things. You know, she loves wrestling just as much as I do. You know, just pretty. I mean, I would just say like pretty much everything that we do, we really agree on everything, and like I mean, for the most part, I mean, we do everything together. Like literally we do everything together, man, because we both work from home technically. We go to the gym together, we travel together, we work together. I mean, so it's just, man, we do everything together. I mean, we're kind of like inseparable, man.
Do you guys still have a relationship with Velvet Sky?
Yeah, we just saw Velvet. You know,
Mm,
my wife just got inducted
mm.
into the her and
Hall of
Velvet just got
Fame.
inducted
Right.
Sunday into the TNA Hall of Fame or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talk to Velvet all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, y'all. They got inducted as the beautiful people, right? If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
seeing
Sunday.
that posting. Yeah, that's dope.
Well, I knew you guys or they had got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I didn't know like outside of that they you guys do everything together. So did you guys all have a relationship or did they just come together for the Hall of Fame ceremony?
Oh no. I mean they talk all the time and everything. And you know what? You know, Velvet was doing commentary at NWA too when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bar. I just want to throw that out there. Like you're a
Oh yeah.
lucky man. Your wife is beautiful.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's funny he asked that question because my next question was basically, what influence did Angelina Love Psycho Girl have on your matches and your overall persona?
Man, the thing she helped me the most with was promos.
Okay.
Because she's like grade A, man, when it comes to the promos.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to hate doing promos, dude. I used to totally hate it, man. I'd be like, man, like, why does anybody need to talk? Like, we just need to do the wrestling. Like, that's it. And obviously, like, the more I got booked, the more people, like, the promoters would be asking for, like, promos to kind of help, you know, sell tickets for the shows and things like that. And I was like, okay, like, I guess I'm gonna have to learn how to do these promos. And she would give me a lot of ideas for promos, and just when you're doing promos, how to like work the camera when you're doing promos, and then not talk at a million miles an hour when you're doing it, right? Like saying one thing and being able to let that one thing resonate with the person that's watching it, and then move on to the next thing that you're going to say, right? Because you'll see like a lot of indie guys, man, that do promos, man, they do promos and they're fitting 5 minutes of shit in 1 minute, right? And they're talking a mile a minute and you can't keep up with it, right? Whereas if you just said like, yo, most people's attention span is very short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the 3 or 4 bullet points that I need to hit, and I'm going to hit it in 60 seconds. Because once you go to TV, you're going to have, just like how you have times on matches, you're going to have times on promos, right? Where they're going to say, "Hey, you got a minute 20 for this promo. Go," right? And you got to be able to hit the bullet points that they give you for whatever program that you're working, make it make sense and make it so that the viewer can understand it, and do it within the time frame that they're allotting to you.
Yeah, I think the promo and the character development is very important, and we actually spoke about that yesterday with Ryan Rembrandt, and he was
Mhm.
basically saying like how it's like it's kind of easier to be a face than it is to be a heel. There's a lot more. I feel like, and we was agreeing. There's a lot more elements into heel work than there is the face work. And I was like, it's kind of easier to like get the crowd on your side, especially if you're getting beat down and stuff like that. But it takes a real special human to like go out there and get so much heat from the crowd that they throwing stuff, that they mad at you. I mean, for God's sakes, like MJF, man,
Right.
that guy is the ultimate heel.
And
He
bro,
had,
for me, I can't be nothing but a heel.
yeah.
Like I'm a terrible baby face.
Mm-hmm.
And that just comes with knowing what you're more comfortable doing, right?
Right.
Me, I'm more comfortable talking shit, getting heat from the crowd, and
Mm-hmm.
both, and like, my wife is a career heel. I'm a career heel. So going into those situations, and look, man, the thing, if you're a baby face, the thing about that is you need to work with a good heel
Mm-hmm.
to be able to garner that kind of sympathy, right?
Right.
If you're working with a guy and he's a heel and he's not working the crowd and getting heat, then nobody's gonna give a shit about your comeback, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta build that up. And one thing I would say too is, if you watch some wrestling, you'll see guys and you'll go like, this guy's supposed to be a heel, but like they not really booing him, or they cheer him at specific times and things like that. Part of
Mm-hmm.
the reason for that, right, is everybody wants to do cool moves.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to just get heat, bro. And like getting heat is like doing shitty things, choking, punching, doing shit behind the referee's back, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you a heel and you out there doing fucking Hurricane Ranas and shit, or you doing 450 splash, they gonna pop for that. I don't want people to pop for me. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to boo me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm getting boos, then I know I'm doing my job. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now we're getting it cracking. You know what I mean? Because you want that crowd booing you out of the building. So when it's time, when that double down happens and the babyface gets that one move out of nowhere that puts everybody down, and we're about to build that big comeback right there where he's gonna make his comeback, that's when you want the crowd coming up for him. And they not gonna come up for him if you ain't got no heat.
Right. Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And that's why I feel like heels are special in every sense of the word. Like we could go through a laundry list of some of the best heels like from now and back in the day. We could talk about Randy Orton. Randy Orton, when he's a heel, he is diabolical. Like, who else was a good heel? Like another person that I think is a dope heel.
Macho King was a good heel.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Roddy Piper.
Man,
hmm
yeah, good heel. Hall and Nash were good heels. Like when they first like got the NWO going,
hmm
Hogan was a good heel when he was in the NWO.
hmm
Um, man, you think about guys like, and I mean this is kind of random, but like La Resistance when they were in WWE, they were good heels.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and man, I'm trying to think of like some more like good heels. Nasty Boys were good heels.
hmm
Um, Ted DiBiase, another good heel.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's so many good heels, but if you pay attention to these guys and you pay attention to a lot of their work, they're not out there doing fancy moves
No.
because your job. I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place for heels to do, a big move that could get like a big pop or whatever, but it's a time and a place for that,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's a time and a place in the program that you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're doing the big blow off match, and that's where like now we're doing a bunch of false finishes, right? Because we're building to the end of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned $1 Million Man because the one heel promo that he cut the one time when he had the little boy with the basketball.
Yo, that shit is legendary,
Oh
bro.
my God, bro. I was on the floor. Cause I remember the funny thing, the reason why I laugh at it so hard is that I watched that episode as a kid and I hated him for it. I was like, yo, I don't like that guy, mom. Like, I hate that guy. Why is he doing that to that boy?
Exactly.
Yeah, and once you strike that in a person's head, in a fan's head, they gonna remember that forever, forever, and ever and ever and ever. Like I could remember when Bad News Brown had the ghetto blaster, and he hit like I remember stuff like that. I'm like, yo, that was wild. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'm forever a heel
Another
fan.
thing, another thing too, right? Is like if you're a heel, like 90% of the time you lose in your matches. You know what I
hmm
mean?
hmm
And the thing about being a good heel, and I told this to somebody the other day, is the thing about being a good heel is it doesn't matter if I win or lose. It don't matter at all, right?
hmm
Because if I come through the curtain and we get reaction, that's what everybody wants. They want you to get reaction. If you
hmm
come through the curtain and get no reaction, that's not good. You need to be getting reaction. So it doesn't matter if I lose every match because when I come through the curtain, people want to boo us.
hmm
And if they want to boo you, that means you getting reaction.
hmm
That means people want to see you, they want to boo you, they want to see you lose.
hmm
And if you
Yeah,
can do that, then you'll always be working.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, and that's kind of the reason why I'm so invested into like watching the heels and what they do, the artistry behind like getting the fans to hate, the artistry behind like them like it was man, like heels are I feel like the best in professional wrestling. I don't care what type of heel you are, like the work that you have to put in to like get the fans to react that way. That's art in itself. That's art in itself.
100%.
And I could see why now there's now like one of the major classes they have in pro wrestling schools is the heel work, is the
Right.
participation, is the like you just the interaction because I feel like that is so important. That is so important. Yeah, but
Oh yeah.
uh I got one more question. I'm gonna pass it back to Dub. What is the origin behind the Psycho Slam?
Okay, so I used to do a move where basically I would be holding a guy like this, and I would take him and I would swing him around, and he would take a back bump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about having a finishing move, right, is you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to make sure that you can hit your finishing move on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That was a move that there were some guys that like okay, take like for instance like Odyssey Jones, right? I
Mm-hmm.
could not pick him up and swing him around and do that move on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something like the Psycho Slam, I can I can hook the guy here and I can do the it's it's kind of like the Psycho Slam is basically like the old like Yokozuna Uranagi, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, right, right.
And that's a move that I can hit on anybody because all the guy's got to do is jump for me. And if
Mm-hmm.
he jumps, I can turn him. You know what I mean? So coming up with that move was basically looking at something and going like, okay, how can I take a move and give it a name that implements my character and it's something that I can do to everybody. So we had kind of settled in on that and there were a couple of other like character spots. Like one thing I worked with Dr. Tom Pritchard on um a lot of times when he was agenting my stuff and when he was kind of helping me behind the scenes was making sure that I had a lot of character spots
Mm-hmm.
in the match. Like one of the character spots is where I would do like the Mr. Perfect neck breaker and then I would pop up and give him a boot and then give him the elbow drop, right? And then I'll walk over to the hard cam and she'll get up on the apron and like lick my face and it makes me go crazy, right? Things like where I give him like the eye rake down the ropes and he kind of hangs over the ropes and then I give him the back bump off the ropes and then I roll backwards and then kind of crawl and look super crazy like with my tongue out and then choke him. You know what I mean? And those are all relatively like simple things to do, but the idea behind that is you're getting your character over. So when you do those character spots, it gives the commentary team something to talk about, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I crawl into him and I got my tongue out and I look super crazy and I go here and I just start choking him, Joe Galley or whoever it is on commentary, they can go like, man, this guy's totally crazy. He's psycho, man. He looks
Mm-hmm.
absolutely insane. He'll break all the rules. He doesn't care, and that allows the audience that's watching you on TV,
Mm-hmm.
if they've never seen you, immediately they know, okay, psycho, crazy. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's what you got to have. You got to have stuff that resonates with the audience that the commentary team who is basically telling the story of the match while you're in there doing the physical match itself,
Mm-hmm.
it gets the point across to the viewer and kind of helps you build with the fans.
Yeah, it definitely does. It just goes back to what I was saying before. Like it's all about like the impression that you leave on the audience. If
Hmm.
and we spoke about that with Ryan Rembrandt the other day. Like if I could leave that impression on you. I could do 1,001 moves. They probably won't even remember none of the moves, but they gonna
Exactly.
remember that promo that I cut. They gonna remember, oh, I hit your favorite with the choke slam, or I hit him with the steel chair while he was cutting a promo. They gonna remember that. They gonna say, oh, I don't like
Exactly.
that guy. So yeah, it makes perfectly good sense. It makes perfectly good sense, and I'm glad that you it broke it down like that, because a lot of times when the fans see that, they think it's like they think it's easy. It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
Yeah,
I
wrestling is hard, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of character work behind doing these things. So like I appreciate the way you broke that down. Go ahead, Dub.
So to this day, like even some guys that I work with, I tell them that I do a professional wrestling podcast, me and my brother here. So for somebody who is active in the business, been in the business for a little bit, can you explain to some of these knuckleheads why wrestling isn't fake and how wrestling isn't fake?
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is I always tell people wrestling is a show, man. It's sure, the winners and losers are predetermined, but when you bumping on that ring, man, you just bumping on wood. I mean, when you get hit with a chair in your back, or you get hit with the psycho stick, these things hurt. And taking bumps and doing things like that, sure, like your body will acclimate to anything that you put it through. Just like you see people like walking on like hot stones and stuff like that, and you go like, how's he even doing that? It's the same thing like with wrestling, man. It's like, sure, wrestling is predetermined, it's a show, but the physicality involved in wrestling is very real, you know what I mean? And you know, when people say fake, I think fake is just an easy word to go to, right? But they go, oh, it's fake, but it's like, man, well, so are movies, bro. But that don't stop you from watching movies. You know what I mean? I mean, so is the news and like anything else that you watch, right? Like it's all shit that somebody's putting together in a presentation and feeding to you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the physicality of wrestling is very real, man. When guys are getting chopped, or when you get slammed on the outside, if you get slammed on the outside of the ring, or you take a suplex on the concrete, it's like, bro, the concrete ain't moving. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, my body is still getting slammed on the concrete. And I would tell anybody, bro, like, if you think it's fake, then we could go right outside right now and I could body slam you on the concrete, and you let me know how you feel after you take the body slam on the concrete. People will have a different, they will have a very, very different opinion.
Or you know what you do? You let them take a chop. Let them take a chop. Let them take one of them big
Right.
show type chops. Let them take one of
Bro,
those.
you see Kofi Kingston, like his whole chest split from one of them big
Yeah,
show chops.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
like, dude, like this, like, uh, sure, like, I mean, like, it's a show, but like, the physical pain, bro. Like, some days I wake up, man, and I'm not kidding, dog. Like, I will get up in the morning times, and it literally takes me 45 minutes to an hour for my body to just warm up. I remember I read Moxley one time. He said like if they were doing wrestling shows in the morning, he wouldn't be able to do them because it takes him all day to get his body warmed up to the point where he can go out there at night and do the matches and shit. And that's very true, man. I mean, especially if you're somebody like, you know, I mean, like my body is taking a beating all the time because I'm doing cardio, I'm going to the gym, I'm training in the gym, and I'm doing matches. And you know, I mean, bro, Tuco Scorpio is probably like 230 pounds. You gonna feel all 230 pounds when that man moonsault off the top rope and land on you.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah,
mean, there ain't no faking that.
yeah.
One of my favorite pictures I like to show people is when they say that kind of stuff to me. I just Google a picture of Sheamus after a match, and I show them that picture. Now, what part of that looks fake to you? Especially after getting chopped by Gunther, he had the blood coming out of his chest. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what part of that is fake? Tell me what part of that is fake.
exactly,
And at that point, they
exactly.
can't say anything. I'm like, exactly.
Exactly, bro. I mean, listen, man, it's just as physical as football or anything else, man. Last time I checked, people still watching football.
That's true. And there's some
You know,
football players that have tried to come into the wrestling scene and quit.
because it's too tough. And
Mm-hmm.
and and look, the thing about football is you get an off season in football. Ain't no off season in wrestling, bro. I'm working
Nope,
every weekend. I'm
nope.
working every weekend, dog. So if I always welcome people. If you think you can do it, if it's that easy, then come do it. How come everybody ain't doing it if it's that easy?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So on
100%.
that note, how do you feel when you hear fans use the word botch and stuff like that, or
I
tribalism
mean,
and
I think I think I think with wrestling, man, um I think the fans want to be involved, And it's like, one thing you got to understand about wrestling is you're basically doing a live one take fight scene in front of a live crowd. There are things that are going to happen that are not going to be on track. Every match is not going to be perfect. Jerry Lynn told me that one time. I asked him, I said, man, I'm so hard on myself about what, working and making sure every little thing is perfect in the matches. And I'm like, nobody is more critical about my work than me. And I remember Jerry Lynn told me one time, he said, bro, it's wrestling, man. You're doing a live one take fight scene in front of a live crowd, and there's no redos. So like, he told me, he said, bro, if you want it to be perfect, then go shoot movies. And I was like, after he said that, I was like, it's like the light bulb went off. I was like, I totally understand. But until sure things happen and things get off track and things mess up, I mean, that happens, man. Um, but the fans should be more, in my opinion, they should be more understanding, because like, the performers are out there giving it 100%, and sometimes things just happen, bro. And it's just like, you shouldn't, you should not eviscerate the performers if one thing happens and it's not perfect. You know what I mean? I mean, every performer is going in there with the mindset of trying to make this thing perfect. That's what everybody wants, it to be perfect. But if it's not, the fans eviscerating the performers for that, I think it just I think it makes things hard between the fans and the performers too, though. It's like the performers want to love the fans, because without the fans there is no wrestling. You know what I mean? But with the fans always like coming at the wrestlers, and it's just one of those things where you're just like, yo, like, just chill, man, like, just chill and like watch the show. Like, ain't nobody screaming at you, like, if you working at Food Lion and you put the beans in the wrong place on the shelf. Nobody like breathing down your neck, because you're doing that, right? So like, just take it easy.
So that brings up another important topic. I'm sure you've seen it. We've all seen it. The issue with fans following these wrestlers to hotels and airports and stuff like that. I know we've seen people like Kevin Owens speak up about it. CM Punk
Mhm.
a couple of times speak up about it. You know, I know you probably saw the video of Rhea Ripley being pinned up against her car in Paris
Yeah,
when she was trying to leave. Like, what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff, man?
I think some things are excessive. um and people just gotta, on some level, they have to respect like the performer's boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, if you're somebody and you're like, dude, we have had like, I remember it was one pay-per-view we were doing like at NWA, and we got done with the pay-per-view, we went to the hotel, um we left the hotel and went to a restaurant, and we didn't get back to the hotel until like maybe like 1:15 or 1:30 in the morning, right? And there were people waiting in the hotel with programs from the show trying to get them signed. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not somebody who like trips out. I'm a very like relaxed, chill person. So like, when the fans like walked up to us and they're like, hey, like, can you sign these programs or whatever, in my head I'm thinking, I'm like, man, it's like 1:30, like, what are you doing here,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I'm also thinking like, it's 1:30 in the morning, and this person literally waited here for me to sign this program. You know what I mean? And like, that's kind of cool too, so like, it's I I don't know, man. I think it just depends on the person. Like, for me, I'm just somebody who's always been very appreciative of anybody, man, who wants me to sign something or take a picture with them, man. That's super cool, and I'm very, very appreciative of it. But I mean, I think if it gets to the point of like, where you're getting mobbed, like how Rhea Ripley was getting mobbed, like around that car, and like she couldn't move, and like there's 50 people around you, and they're pushing you up against the car. That's definitely excessive, and like people have to realize that like sometimes you gotta back off a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was even reports where like Oscar had fans show up to her house, and Liv
Yeah,
Morgan
yeah,
had
that's
fans show up
way
to
out
her
of
house.
control. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
way out of
yeah.
control. I mean, bro,
Have
like
you
we
ever?
we have had I me and my father have the same name, and we have had people send trading cards and 8x10s to my father's house asking for them to be signed. Like they mailed them to my father's house thinking that my father's house was my house. You know what I mean? So things like that can kind of freak you out a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it's like, that's my parents' house. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't want anybody showing up to my parents' house thinking that it's my house trying to get some wrestling stuff signed. I mean that certainly worried. And anybody that does that, we just take the stuff and throw it in the garbage, you know what I mean? Because it's like that's passing the privacy boundary there.
Mhm.
Right, right. Have you ever had any fans follow you to a hotel or follow you through the airport just trying to get a signature from you or a picture?
Not like follow me through the airport or anything like that. I mean, we definitely had like people notice us and come up to us and things like that. That's not super crazy to me. But it also kind of depends on like like a Rhea Ripley, she's on like a global level, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas like like a like somebody who's working for like an NWA or an MLW, most of the time those are like hardcore wrestling fans, you know what I mean, that are kind of
Mhm.
following those products. Um and like I say, I mean, if it's like if I'm passing through the airport or I'm passing through the hotel or coming back into the hotel and somebody's like, "Hey man, like can you sign this or can I take a picture with you or whatever?" I always try to take the picture or sign whatever they got and then just kind of keep it moving.
That's fair. That's fair. It's just something that I personally take offense to. I don't know why I take offense to it. I think it's
Yeah.
weird. That's what it is. It's weird. Like, why are you following these professional? I mean, because I think it was Kelsey Plum in of the WNBA. Somebody was standing there waiting for her to get back to her hotel with
Right.
her stuff, with their stuff in their hand, trying to get her to sign it. And she even called it was like, don't you think this is a little weird that you're sitting here waiting on me at my hotel? Like, you don't think this is a little weird? You don't think that's a little stalkerish? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just, it's just weird that people do that. Like, you guys have meet and greets, you guys have all kinds of other things where people want to get pictures and get signatures from, where you can go to that instead of following people to their hotels, through the airports, their homes, even like
Right.
it's just weird to me, weird behavior.
Yeah, and I never been a person like that. Like, I mean, I was always a big wrestling fan, but like I never thought to myself like I'ma like hang outside the arena and like wait for this person to get here and like run up to him and like say something. Like I never have ever felt like that. But one thing I always say, man, is there's some crazy ass people in this world, bro. I
Yeah,
mean,
bro.
it's some crazy ass people.
Yeah, I remember there was probably a good let's see, what's this, 2025? So probably a good 20 years ago, I was working in our the local mall where I live at, and Monday Night Raw just so happened to be in town, and I go around to the food court, and who do I see walking towards me? Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Randy Orton.
No, no
I
shit.
did not. First off, I froze. I froze because just like you, I grew up a big time wrestling fan. We're all in the same age bracket, so when I saw them, I like froze because to me, Shawn Michaels is the goat. So
He's a
I
go, man,
froze.
no doubt.
Yeah. See, thank you. But I
I mean,
froze, and I'm
it's
like,
very close between him and Bret Hart, but I mean, but I think Shawn Michaels, he it's hard to not say Shawn Michaels is the goat.
you hear that? You hear that? HB
Uh,
HBK.
yeah, we battle about this goat stuff all the time. I'm a Shawn Michaels fan too, but he already knows. Like he already knows my goats. My goats are like like Bret Hart, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Ric Flair. Like especially with the promo work, like I said, So yeah, we battle with this all the time, though. Yeah,
That's
but
why you just gotta have like a Mount Rushmore. You know what I mean? So you ain't gotta
right,
pick one.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this.
Here we
Let's
go. Here
hear.
we go.
Because I was gonna say I just froze in my footsteps and I was afraid to approach them because number one, they're out in public.
Mhm.
Number two, they're probably on a time frame because they probably got to get back to the arena or get to
Right.
the arena to do what they need to do. So who am I to stop them just to ask for a picture or whatever? But let's hear Psycho Boy Fodder's Mount Rushmore professional wrestling.
Mount Rushmore would be Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, and Hulk Hogan. That would be my Mount Rushmore. And everybody's on there for different reasons. I would say Bret Hart's on there for being one of the best technical wrestlers in the business. Shawn Michaels is on there for being not only technical, but he was kind of one of the original like high flyers where he implemented a lot of high flying stuff. Austin, just because I mean he just set the business on fire. And then Hogan, because he also set the business on fire, but just in a different era. So I think the business without those four people in the business ain't the same. You know what I mean? Because each person contributed a different thing to the business at the time they were in the business to get it to where it was at.
I hear you. I hear you. I don't have Hogan on mine. I actually substituted Hogan. We actually have the same top three. Mine was Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and my fourth. I throw people for a loop when I tell them my fourth. It's Mr. Perfect. I don't think he gets nowhere near the amount of credit that he deserves.
He doesn't, and Mr. Perfect was one of the best sellers ever. One of the best ever when it comes to selling.
You absolutely. You know who's a great seller too? Dolph Ziggler.
One of the best, bro.
Dolph Ziggler
One of the best
selling.
sellers, man.
Dolph Ziggler selling.
That dude will sell his soul.
Bro. Like there's a few times I've seen Dolph Ziggler sell, and I really thought this man was hurt. Like I was like, yeah, he's done. He's done.
Dude, he's unbelievable, man. And I hope that within the next maybe 6-7 months, me and Ziggler get to work. I just saw him this past weekend, you know what I mean? And I mean he did some unbelievable work too, in that gauntlet match that they had. Took a mean guitar shot to the head too from Elias at the end of the show.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it took a mean guitar shot to the head, man. And like, speaking of Elias, one of my favorite people to wrestle too, man. Elias is he's like my brother, man. I mean, me and him, we talk every day, man, and he's a fantastic worker.
Yeah, I like Elias. I like Elias. I especially grew even more of an interest in what Elias was doing because I follow him is because of his faith. So when he had a few times where on his I believe it was his TikTok, he was reading some scriptures and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was this one particular day where I was like feeling just kind of down on myself, and it so happens I stumbled upon his TikTok and he's reading one of the scriptures, and it just so happens I think it was one of the Proverbs. I forgot which proverb it was, and then he was just going through the Proverbs, and it just lightened up my day, and then the rest of the day it was fine. So
Bro, he would totally be stoked to know that you said that, man.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to text him in the morning and tell him like, yo, man, like let me tell you what my man said real quick.
Yeah, like let him know like there's people that's watching and they get inspired by that because it's cool to see people you watch on TV and then you end up having the same interest. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real cool to see that. Because a lot of times you feel like like because of the work that you guys do, like, you know what I mean, it's kind of like hard to like relate to certain things, but then when you find out that you guys can relate in so many different ways, you know what I'm saying, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, who would ever thought like we'll be able to sit down and hold conversations to people that we watch on TV on a regular basis? But
Sure.
we had a dream, and we had that dream that we could do it. We could do it. You know what I'm saying? We work hard, and we put something together that not only like people are interested in, but also like we get to know the wrestlers and we build with the wrestlers. And before you know it, we having conversations all the time and stuff like that. There's plenty of wrestlers we talk to on a regular basis, and like
Yeah.
people are like shocked, like, yo, how are you able to do this and how are you able to do that? I'm like, yo, they're people too, man. They're people too. They like to
No,
have
just
conversations. Yeah,
regular people, bro. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
man. Hell yeah.
yeah.
Most
And
definitely,
people are
man.
shocked to know that all we have to do is send Odyssey a message on Instagram, and he instantly gets right back to us. It's like, y'all have that? I'm like, what's wrong with that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Bro, and like me and
Jordan,
him, like we so cool, man. Like, I mean, like that's, I mean, like honestly, like I consider him a bro for sure, man. Because and we, man, like we talk and we just got so many things in common, man. And he's just an all around just a cool, chill, relaxed dude. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he definitely, in my opinion, got the bad end of the stick. You know what I mean? When he was at WWE, but look at him now. I mean, he flourishing. He won half of the tag teams in All Japan, and it's like I told him, I was like, bro, you destined for great things, and all you got to do is just keep your head down and just keep grinding, man, and you're gonna do your thing because he got a lot of charisma.
Yes, he does. He does. Like, man, like the conversations we was having that day, like it was crazy. We still talk about it to this day. Like he's one real cool and chill brother. You know what I mean? And
Most definitely.
and those I feel like those type of conversations, just like the one we having with you, like those are the type of conversations that are everlasting. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
they sit in your head, and like you could, you could remember. Oh yeah, remember when we was talking about this, about, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Most
dope.
definitely. Hell yeah, man. Man, I had a lot of fun, man, with y'all, man. Y'all got
Yeah,
a cool thing going, man. And if I can help y'all get anybody on here, man, you let me know, man. And I definitely, make moves to reach out to people if y'all need that.
and
it's
I think it's just cool that like if it goes to a more of like a friendship after this, I think that kind of stuff is cool. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Psycho Boy done reached out to us, told us about this. Let's do this, or we done reached out to Psycho Boy. Hey, you want to come on the show? Give us
Yeah,
an
yeah.
update how life is going with with everything's going with your career and how life is going thus far. You know what I'm saying? So speaking of which, I know you said you turned 39 years old. Do you
Yeah.
what are some of the goals that you have going forward?
Man, just to kind of, I mean, obviously, like, I think pretty soon we're gonna be going back to doing TV pretty soon.
turn the
And
light off.
and it's I think another good, like, you know, 1-2 years doing TV. I told my wife, man, that I wanted to make sure that, you know, we do our thing, have another good run on TV, man, and then after that, I plan on just kind of bowing out. And then more so just focusing on my family, just focus on, you know, running my businesses, man, and just helping raise the little man into a big man.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hold on. My son just walked in here. Remember what I was telling you all about? He just walked in here. He just want to say hi. Can you? All right, come out, man. Come out, bro. Like this guy, man. Come out. Come on. Remember?
Oh
Remember?
shit! Hold on a second. I don't want my phone to
Okay.
die.
Remember? Remember I told you about the guy we was watching on the show, Psycho Boy. There you go, right there. Just say, just say hi. He can see you. Say hi.
Hi.
Keep it
Yo, what's
spicy,
up, bro?
See, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on, bro?
He said, "What's going on?" Oh, you can't. You
Good.
can't. Yeah, just say hi real quick.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Being shy?
I'm good.
Yeah. He
That's what's up, man.
he he was there that day when I told you the story, and he was like, "Yo,
Yeah,
Dad."
yeah.
He was like, "Yo, Dad, are you okay? Why are you yelling at the TV?" I was like, "Yo, you don't know who that is." He was like- so yeah, so yo, all right, you can go. You can go back now. Bye. All right. Yeah, he just funny guy, man.
Yeah, man.
Um, I got one. I got last. This is my last question. So you wrestled against a wide variety of opponents, including veterans like Fred Roaster. Of course, we talked about Two Coat Scorpio. What have you learned from facing such a diverse group of wrestlers?
I mean, you learn something different from every guy, but the main thing, man, I mean, you're always learning, man. With wrestling, man, you never stop learning. You learn new shit all the time, man. Even you 5, 10, 15 years into the game, you learn new stuff all the time. I would probably say the best thing that I've ever learned from anybody is always making sure that you slow down. Slowing
Yeah.
down in the ring. If you think you're going too slow, you need to go even slower.
Mhm.
That's the number one rule.
I got a side question with that, right? So is there
Hmm?
such thing like, okay, I use myself for example, like I'm 6'3", right? Is there such thing as like me being at my size and height, I should wrestle as my height permits?
Mm-hmm.
Is there such
Mm-hmm.
things that, because I've heard that plenty of times, like, oh, you're a
100%.
big guy, you should wrestle like a big guy, or you're a smaller guy, you should wrestle like a luchador. So is there such things as
Yes.
that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Definitely need to wrestle your size. You know what I
okay.
mean? I mean, imagine like Kevin Nash out there doing like, lucha arm drags or whatever. It just don't it don't go right. It don't flow, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard that being said plenty of times in other podcasts and other other wrestlers spoke on it. So I was just like, because nowadays like you see a lot of the hybrid type of wrestlers now. Like you see the guys that are bigger, like Brian Cage for example. Brian Cage is a big dude, but the guy could do
Hmm.
a lot of luchador type stuff, and so can people like what's his face? Keith Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Keith
yeah, yeah.
Lee,
Hmm.
Moose. Those guys are big dudes, but they could do a lot of lucha stuff. So I was just, wondering about that. But that's my last question for
Most definitely, man.
yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Bro, I had mad fun with y'all guys tonight.
So did we. So did we. So I know Dub got his ending off thing, so I'm gonna just let him do his.
Before I ask my question I asked to everybody, I just gonna throw this out there to you. Is there anything that you would like to plug in for people to know about you before we get off here?
Just if you want to follow me like on all the socials, everything is at LOKEYS910. If you want unlimited free matches from the Psycho Boy, you can get those at youtube.com/Psycho Boy Fodder. Coming up, like we got a bunch of stuff coming up. I got Two Cold Scorpio on Sunday. We got AML Wrestling next week, on November 8th. I'm working Dijak November 8th, and then at the end of the month, I got a big match coming up at the WrestleCade Super Show. I can't say who it is right now because it ain't been announced, but when we stop recording, I'll tell y'all who it is.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair. So I asked this question to everybody. If you could see anybody on the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast, who would it be? But
If I could see
but
anybody on there,
but you have to help us get that person on the show.
Well, I'm trying to think of somebody that you would not have to go through another. I'm trying to think of somebody that you wouldn't have to go through another channel, like as in somebody at a company to get approved to do the interview. If I could get anybody on here, I would probably maybe C.W. Anderson.
Oh,
C.W. Anderson.
oh yeah.
ECW original, man.
Yo, I know you familiar with C.W. Anderson, Dub. Like, yo, you get like.
Yeah. No, I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. That's what he said.
Yeah. Yo,
You know, I always write them down.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, and if y'all want to get him on the podcast, I mean that ain't nothing but just the text.
Yeah, yo, C.W.
You know we
Anderson.
do. You know we
definitely,
do.
Definitely.
I got you. I got you. I'll text him in the morning. I know he'll do it. That ain't
There's
nothing.
another person that I would like to have on too. I don't know if he's available to do it, but it was Elias.
You have to go through the people at TNA to get him.
Yeah, no.
If you didn't have to go through the if you didn't have to go through the TNA people, I know for sure I could get him. But but he will tell. I know for sure he will say they got to talk to Ross over at TNA to get it approved.
No worries. So C.W. Anderson. Yeah, we would love to have anybody from ECW on the show, especially original.
Yeah.
I'll make that happen for y'all. No worries on that.
We appreciate
that.
We appreciate it.
Well, again, like I started out the show with, man, like we are being the ones reaching out to these wrestlers, but you took it upon yourself to reach out to us. And you don't know how much that means to me and him, because we talked about it for a good few days. Like, bro, we really just had somebody that was wrestling in NWA reach out to us about being on the show. So that really that means to us.
That means y'all stuff is getting around and being seen. You know what I mean? So that should say something about y'all. You know what I mean? So it's like, I was at least seeing y'all stuff on people that I know. So I'm thinking like, okay, cool, man. Like it seemed like they got a cool podcast. Like, and as a wrestler, as a worker, as somebody who's should be always promoting yourself and promoting your brand, it should never be beneath you to just initiate the conversation to make something happen.
Yeah, we just gratefully appreciative. We're humbled by it, and we know that we're getting somewhere when we get those type of reactions. We know we're getting somewhere because we grind. Like we literally record like almost every single day. Like we're really
man.
on top of it, and we're pushing hard to like really get to that pinnacle that we need to reach. But we appreciate everything. We really do.
Ain't no thing, baby.
Yeah. Well, as you see, we got the Psycho Boy in the building with us. We will be back this Saturday to watch Ashe Wrestling's. I'm having a brain fart, man.
That's old age, bro.
Oh boy, is October. We're gonna be back on Saturday to watch Ashe Wrestling. Please, hey, Ugly Gang, please don't hurt me.
Ashe Wrestling close to midnight, bro.
You were supposed to back me up, man. You were supposed to back me up.
I just told you the name of it.
After the
Ashe
effect.
Wrestling close to midnight.
After the effect. Yeah, we'll be back to view the Ashe Wrestling close to midnight. We're gonna try to get it on Discord for you guys. So stay tuned for that. We appreciate you, Psycho Boy, for tapping in with us. And that was Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast. We'll talk to y'all again real soon. Deuces.
Podcast, scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, they are the Internet Podcast.